I'm going to show you how I measure gauge. So when I'm measuring a gauge swatch, I knit the gauge swatch. I always knit them too big one direction. So in this case, I knit it very wide and not super long, and I probably should have gone a little longer. But I then blocked it, meaning I got it wet, I laid it flat to dry. I didn't do any stretching or pulling. I just laid it out after I took out most of the water, and I let it dry. So it's dry now. And when I measure a gauge swatch, I am always trying to measure 4 inches. So I could count or I could measure, right? I prefer to measure. So this is a 4.5 inch square quilting ruler, 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So what I like to do is find the most even part of the swatch, which I would say is, roughly there. And I'm just going to pin or put a pin kind of at the beginning of that 4 inches and at the end of that 4 inches. So there's one pin, there's another pin, and then I'm going to count. I'm going to count the number of stitches. Now, a stitch is always going to be a complete V. So if I take my pen, you can use a pin, you can use a pen, you can use whatever you want. I just make sure my pen is closed, not open. And then I start counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I'm getting 20 stitches to 4 inches, right? So I may write that down somewhere. I am getting stitch gauge is 20 for 4 inches, which is 5 stitches an inch, right? So I'm going to write that down and set it aside. We don't need it right next to us. We don't need it in view while I'm doing the other measurement. So then I do the same thing up and down. So this is, again, a 4.5 inch ruler. I only need 4 inches. And I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to move my pins. And I'm going to say, this isn't a perfectly straight line, and I can move it around a little. But really the idea is I want to start at the bottom of a set of stitches, at the bottom of a V. That's how I measure it. Again, there are lots of ways to measure this. This is just the way that I measure it. And then I'm going to go to the 4 inch and I'm going to put another pin. And then I'm going to count again, right? So again, make sure your pen is closed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So my row gauge is 28 for 4 inches, or 7 rows per inch. Right? Simple math. Just take the number divided by 4, the number divided by 4, and you get the true stitch per inch. Now, I have to go look at what the gauge is supposed to be for the project that I'm working on, but I know what my gauge is. Now, do I love this fabric? Yeah, this fabric is fine. If I needed to make another gauge swatch, would I be upset? No. It's perfectly fine if this isn't the gauge that I'm supposed to be getting and I want to do another gauge swatch to get closer. But that's how I measure it. So I'm not doing anything funky. And again, in this case, I don't even know what the gauge is I'm supposed to be getting. So nothing was biasing kind of what number I was looking for. So that's how I measure a gauge swatch.